Hello everybody, welcome back to the League of 72, shall we? Yep, let's do it. It's a bit of a winter pause when it comes to the Qatar World Cup, of course. So let's have a look at the season so far and let's grade every single team, shall we? Let's do it in alphabetical order, makes sense, doesn't it? Just to say, of course, this is your home for all things EFL. So if you are a fan of an EFL club, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. And of course, let me know how you feel about your grade in the comments down below. Of course, it's not your grade, it's the grade of your club, but your club is you. Let's start. Birmingham City, B, very positive. Birmingham are only 3 points off the playoff spots as it stands, and if you'd have offered that to a Birmingham fan at the start of the season, they would have bitten your hand off, whatever that means. 7 wins, 7 draws, and 7 losses so far for Birmingham. Very, very decent and a nice position to be in at this stage. Blackburn Rovers, it's got to be an A, isn't it? Fantastic so far from John Dahl Thomason's men. Blackburn's exciting pressing style has been very fun to watch this season because of how many goals and chances it yields. They play every game at a million miles an hour and have been overwhelming their opponents so far, which has led to them sitting in third at this stage. Absolutely excellent start for them so far. Blackpool, it's got to be a D, hasn't it? Always going to be tough with Neil Critchley's departure. It was always going to be a sticky season for Blackpool with a new manager coming in after enjoying so much success under the previous regime. Blackpool have conceded the second most goals so far with 33, and that has caused problems for them with the side not free scoring, and of course that's going to hurt them in terms of getting points. Bristol City, C-. They have faded a bit, haven't they, after a good start to the season. You thought that Bristol City might have really started something. We even did a video on the channel about how tactically interesting they were. Defensively is where the issues seem to have arisen, which see them concede unnecessary goals, and that has costed them so far. They have a nice idea in terms of that attacking ethos, which again we spoke about in that video, the deep dive on Bristol City. Go and check that one out. But their defence is holding them back at the minute, as is the League of 72 curse. Burnley, A+, proving everyone wrong. Believe it or not, some fans were criticising Vincent Kompany for his side's lack of goals earlier this season. As things stand, Burnley are the division's top scorers with 40 so far, and Kompany has proven a lot of people wrong who questioned his tactics and approach to begin with. This is another team that we've done a video on, a deep dive on how Vincent Kompany's side play. It's so different, of course, to last season and the last 10 seasons or whatever it was under Sean Dyche. And Burnley sit top of the table with what is pretty much a completely new look side, and it's working wonders so far. Cardiff City, D. D for despondent. It's the mood at Cardiff City. It just doesn't seem right at the minute with the club in limbo as to who their next manager is going to be. So far this season hasn't been anything special, but with the club 19th in the league and having suffered a defeat at Swansea earlier in the season, the mood is a bit flat at the CCS this season. Coventry City, B. Climbing every single week. After a stop-start beginning to the season, Coventry are now back with a vengeance and are climbing up the table every single week. Obviously not anymore because there's not many games, but they are currently on a 4-match winning streak and have played some beautiful stuff. I'm going to be bold and say that the double pivot of Gustavo Hamer and Ben Sheaf is the best midfield partnership in the league in terms of how well they're playing together at this moment in time. Huddersfield Town, D, struggling big time. Huddersfield need to act quick if they are to save their season. The side have struggled when it comes to creating chances from open play this season, and that has seen them struggle to win most of their matches. The Terriers are 4 points from safety as it stands, so all hope is not lost, but they need to start creating more. Hull City, C-, could be worse. Last season, Hull finished 19th and averaged 1.11 points per game. This season, they are 20th, but are in fact averaging a tiny bit more, 1.14 points per game. So you could make a case for them being a little bit better this season, but only just, right? Survival will be the goal for Hull, and based on these stats, they should survive again this year. Luton Town, B+ so far, but who knows what's going to happen next here. It's been good up to this point for Luton, but they now find themselves in a difficult position, of course, after the second departure of Nathan Jones. Jones was really building something at Luton, and now they are at risk of the project crumbling without him there at the helm. It could be trying times at Luton. Middlesbrough, one of the shocks of the season for me. D, expected so much more. After a good season last season and challenging for the playoffs up to the final match, I thought the Borough would have a good follow-up this season, but it's not been the case at all. Michael Carrick has started life pretty well as the Borough manager, and he could well guide them towards maybe the playoffs and that B rating, which I think comes with it, but Borough receive a D for the time being. It could likely change though, and it should, to be honest. Millwall, B+, brilliant so far. Last season, Millwall were known as perennial drawers, and that costed them quite a few points. This season, they have only drawn 4 matches, and more importantly, of course, won 9. They are in 6th position, and they look really dangerous with new boy Zion Fleming providing the goods. Norwich, B. Improving. Norwich started the season poorly, but they seem to have turned a corner. They are now in 5th position and have been very good in their chance creation so far, with Josh Sargent putting in some excellent displays. We actually talk about Josh in a video where we put forward some EFL stars for the World Cup, so make sure you check that one out. The 2-2 draw away at Sheffield United was also a really important result for them. Preston, B, still in contention. Competing for the playoffs would have been the aim for Ryan Lowe at the start of the season, and him and his Preston side are in 9th spot as it stands and are in fact level on points with 6th place Millwall. Preston have been really competitive this season, and despite being really low scoring, strangely so if I'm honest, they have been solid at the back, which is of course important. The mighty Super Hoops, my team, Queen's Park Rangers, B-. From an A to a B in a few weeks. It looks so positive for QPR last month. We even did a video on it, which normally spells doom when I talk about my beloved team. But they've played some fantastic football, and the results were matching that, but they have fallen off a bit since Mick Beale turned down that job to Wolves. You can't deny it. And despite being winless in their last 5, a win or 2 would see us rocket up the table, and the World Cup break, I think, has probably come at an ideal time. This is a team that has so much potential, and even in the game against Huddersfield, which we lost 2-1, we had 36 shots, so victories are on their way. Reading, B, satisfactory for the most part. It's been a bit of a rollercoaster for Reading this year. To begin with, everyone thought they'd struggle. They then proved a lot of people wrong, myself included, with a fantastic start. Unfortunately, a poor run of results has seen them slide down the table, and they now sit 12th. But a 12th place finish would still be a really good result based on what people were saying at the start of the campaign. Rotherham, B+, overperforming, you've got to say it. Rotherham have stepped up this season. We talk about Reading and them overachieving. I think the same goes here, and it looks like they're on a mission to stay up this year, which would be fantastic to see. They're performing at a good level this season and are overperforming as a whole. They've created 19.3 XG this season, but actually have scored 25 goals. So they are running that little bit hot, but they're up for it. Sheffield United, I'm going to give them an A. Individuals are stepping up finally. We're finally starting to see just how good the Sheffield United players are this season, with some excellent individual displays as well as some great team performances. Oli McBurney and Iliman Ndiaye have massively stepped up and shown their ability this season with 9 goals apiece. They have allowed Sheffield to blow teams away this season, and this was evident when they destroyed Burnley 5-2 just a few weeks ago. Stoke City, C-. They are capable of better. They're so confusing, Stoke City. Stoke have a very good group of players at their disposal with a nice mix of youth and experience, and the fact that they're sat in 17th spot, for me, just shows that it's just not clicked yet. They're just not performing. Under Alex Neil, there have been some good moments. That change of manager is always going to, affect things just a little bit, but I think they would have hoped for a bit more of a bounce with Alex Neil, but you never know with Stoke. You never know which team's going to turn up. Once this side achieves consistency, I think they could push for the playoffs. I really do. Sunderland, B+, have dealt well with adversity and the step up. When Alex Neil left the club, it came as a real big shock to Sunderland fans as well as the neutrals due to how well the side were performing. And I think many expected Sunderland to struggle after Neil's departure, but they've been fine for the most part and are in 15th spot at the minute, which I think they'll be fine with in their first season back in the Championship. 4 points from that relegation spot. I'm sure their fans are overall happy with that. Swansea City, B+, good so far, but need to start turning their domination into 3 points. Despite controlling every single match that they play, Swansea struggle to put the final nail in the coffin sometimes, which allows teams a way back that ultimately costs them points. They also concede unnecessary goals. Swansea have conceded 21.3 expected goals against this season, but actually conceded 28 goals. This is something to keep an eye on. If they can iron that out, there's no doubt that they're going to be pushing for the playoffs. Watford, B so far, a bit of a rollercoaster season. Again, it's always hectic at Watford, and that's part of their charm. They are in 4th spot at the minute, and they are probably happy with that, to be honest. But for this to be a good season, I think they will need to finish in the automatics, especially considering they were in the Premier League last season and the squad that they've got. The question is, though, will Sheffield United and Burnley have that little bit too much in the long run, as they look unstoppable at the minute? West Brom, It's got to be better, hasn't it? Given the embarrassment of riches that they have in terms of the squad and the squad depth, 21st in November is a big failure for this squad, and I think all West Brom fans and the players at West Brom would probably agree with that, right? When you got the likes of Jed Wallace and John Swift in the team, I expected them to do a lot better than they currently are. Having said that, they are 3 wins on the bounce now and maybe turning it around. Time's going to tell. Wigan Athletics, C-, not a million miles off it, but need to improve. It was always going to be tough for Wigan making the jump up from League One, and despite sitting in the relegation spots, they are only 1 point from being safe, and that has to be A- success for the Latics. I saw Wigan against Queen's Park Rangers at home, and I've got to be honest, I think they were one of the best teams that we've played. They looked organised, and in Broadhead have got a really exciting player there. They're far from the whipping boys, and they still stand a really good chance of staying up. So there you have it, people. My grade for every single team in the Championship so far. Go check out League 2 and League 1? No, we haven't done League 1. League 1 when they come out. And let me know how you feel about your grade in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.